Hi guys, Figma just released a new update. This update is very dear to me. It's an interesting update. It is called the Figma Agent. It is an AI inside your Figma canvas, and I know it's very interesting for designers, right? This is going to change the way designers prompt their ideas into designs. And I know a lot of people have been looking for this because before now, we jumped to different tools to kind of make this work by prompting our designs idea on, let's say, Claude AI, and then finally find a way to connect it to the Figma file through the Figma MCP. Right now, this feels unnatural, this feels cumbersome, juggling between different tools to actually make this work. But right now you have the AI in your canvas, and that's very interesting. And one of the designers that have early access to this is currently on the beta state. I'm going to be using this Figma agent to see how we can use this to scale up our design and increase the speed of our designs, right? And solve a lot of problems which the AI can actually help us to solve as fast as possible in our design file. And the interesting part is that this actually understands Figma. It understands the use of variations, understands the use of auto layout, and it understands your design patterns, your design language, your stylings in your Figma file, and can easily work with you. And interestingly, you can have multiple agents working on different tasks in your Figma file. That's really, really interesting. So this might be one of the comprehensive videos out there on YouTube. So make sure you watch this video to the end so you get to understand how to use this Figma agent and how you can also apply to get this better version so that you can start testing out as well. So without wasting much of our time, let's jump to the meat of this video. So if you have early access to the Figma file, you're going to see a new layout structure in Figma. Now, if you're looking at what I'm sharing right now, you could see at the top we have page. This is where you see all the pages that you are currently working on. And this is the Figma agent. I have some charts here, which I'm going to delete. So we have a fresh chart. So this is a new chart. Once you are new, you're going to see this. You don't have any chart in your Figma agent. And for this is assets. We're not going to talk about that in this video. We're just going to look straight into the Figma agent. Now, Figma has already provided a file for us to play around this and understand how we can actually use this Figma agent. I'll drop a link to the file in the description so that you can get to understand how to use this file and understand the Figma agent much better. Now, looking at the file here, we have the introduction into the agents. Now, a lot of you might be asking, how then do I use the agent? How then do I call up the agents to work on my file? Well, there are several ways to work with the agent. First, you could use Command plus Enter. That gives you access to the agent. Or you could literally just come to the navigation here, the side navigation, and click on the agent. It will take you here. So for example, we're on the file and I just hit Command Enter. That will take me to this tab where I see the agent. And you could see some prompts that can give you an idea of how to use this Figma agent. Or you could go ahead and describe your idea and it will bring your design straight up into the Figma canvas, right? That is one way to access it. Another way to access it, Figma has created what we call the mini chart. The mini chart is interesting, and that's what I use most of the time. So what I use the mini chart for is you just have to select an artboard or a frame in your canvas, and you see this icon, the agent icon, beside that frame or artboard. And this is really interesting because you could just select, let me show you guys how this really works. So for example, I have this frame, and let's say I have a text in it. Sorry, you can't see that text. Let me try to increase the text. Now I have this text and I have this artboard. So when I select this artboard, you're going to see the Figma agent close here, where you could easily click on and can start describing what you want the agent to do for you. Now, the interesting part of this is that the agent for the mini chart agent is associated to every element in your Figma file. Like for example, if you have, this is a nested element where it has the frame and the text inside the frame. So you can see that I can also select the mini agent on the text. So I can prompt my way to various details or various elements in my design. And that's really interesting. I know in Claude, you have to use like something to highlight that particular point. And that feels unnatural for us who are designers. We want to actually play with the canvas and select any element we want and then prompt our way to what we actually want. And this is really an interesting feature, which I really like. And I hope to see this come out in full production so that we can start using it. So that's the ways you could just get started with the Figma agent. You either go through the navigation tab here, or you use the command enter, or you use the mini chart. I will be using the mini chart most of the time in this video. So let me know in the comment section what you feel will be the most natural way to call up the Figma agent. Let's go back to our files. So we just looked at the introduction to the Figma agent. And like I said, the Figma agent is sitting right in your canvas. It's an AI that you can use to prompt designs and changes in your Figma file. And let's look at the first way we could use this. Now, one of the ways we could use this is to generate and remake designs. So you have a new idea, you can use the Figma agent to generate that idea. For example, you can say, I want you to build a real estate website for me, and quickly the Figma agent will build that in your file. Or you can use Remix. We're going to look at all of this in details. Now, for first one, we're going to look at is referencing design. You have an existing design in your Figma file, and you want to create maybe a second version or a different flow of that design. Maybe you have, like, for example, here we have like a website, a mobile website view for a shopping cart product, right? And you want to create the checkout point. You can easily just say, design a checkout flow that user can complete in 30 seconds with a spotty internet, make it delightful, blah, 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 and you get that done immediately with the Figma agent. How cool is that? Very interesting. Also, here we have referencing design as well. If you select this particular design, this looks like a meditation app. You can say create a meditation player screen based on this design, and the Figma agents will create this immediately. That's really interesting. Now, looking at this as well, this is another way, because if you look at this, you know that we notice that you're using the mini chart. Let's use the command enter that opens the agent by the tab. You can see you can describe a full new design without referencing any of your design. For example, make a landing page for a real estate marketplace, and boom, you have the design. How cool is that? Very interesting. And if you look at the designs, it uses the best principles of designs, using auto layout, using the right colors and the right typography and the rest of that, which is really, really cool. So let's quickly try out this. This is an example we should try out. And this is referencing a design. We have an existing design, right? And we're going to generate a promotional banner for a free delivery on orders over $50. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. Let me copy this. So I've just copied this. I'm going to drag it here. And to use the Figma agent, what I can do is come over here, or I go to the agent here. Like I said, in this video, I'll be using most of the mini charts. And you can turn off the mini chart. I'll explain better how to turn off this mini chart if it feels very distracting to you in your design file. So let me click on the mini chart, and we're going to simply just copy the prompt so we don't have to type the prompt anymore. Click on the mini chart. Once you hover on it, yeah, and press, and let's go. Let's look at the outcome. So it's showing that it's applying the change, right? You could come on the agent here, and you can see it is also working here. So this feels like your normal Claude where you do your prompting, right? Well, right now you have this in Figma, and this is cool. How cool is this? Very interesting. Now it says, I'll check the selected frame and read the relevant skills before creating the banner. I can see it is clean, minimalistic grocery app design. I'll create a promotional banner that matches this aesthetics using the existing frame as a style reference. It's very impressive how AI can look at our design and understand what we currently have in our design. So if you look at what's happening right now, you can see the pro banner free delivery is being created, is working on it, and we're going to wait to see what this outcome looks like. I'm really, really excited to see what it's going to look like. Okay, cool. We are done. And the interesting thing, it comes with a sweet sound to tell you that actually I'm done with this, right? And this was actually done in 1 minute, 20 seconds. How fast it is. I think this is really faster than me actually designing it myself. AI can make your job 2x or even 10x faster than how humans do their designs, right? So if you look at what it says, the promotional banner has been created. You can see it at promotional banner. So it kind of frames the results together so that you can kind of see what the result looks like, right? Now, style to match the clean minimalistic aesthetics of the WordP app, right? How does it look? Happy to adjust the size, copy, or styling. So you could go ahead and keep prompting this to get exactly what you need. But looking at this right here, I think this AI has really done an incredible job, and it looks really perfect. Let's dive deep into each element in the card that it has created. So if you go back to the frame, the pages here, you're going to see the promotional banner. It created this using auto layout. And that's one of the struggles some designers before now have working with auto layouts. But now with the Figma agent, you can easily create designs with auto layouts, and it will be really, really professional and clean. And one of the things I also struggle with is naming convention. You could see that it has actually named each of the elements in the design using a consistent naming convention. And that's really wonderful. That's really perfect. Now, looking at this right here, you could see the text typography being used. And you could see the interesting part is that it has to pull up the styling that was in this file, right? That was used in this project. You could see that the styling was pulled up for the typography. And that's really, really interesting. So if you have an existing design style or variation colors or whatever your design styling is all about, it's going to check those design styles and make sure you use the necessary design style to build up this. So I can easily now copy this and go into my design and just Command V, paste it into the design and make sure that, okay, looking at the artboard now, I can see that it is framed. So I can change this to auto layout and just paste it somewhere in the design. And I can move it a bit up to where I want it to sit, right? And this is it. We have the promotional banner that says free delivery on orders over $50. You could go ahead and keep prompting this to get exactly what you want. So this is how you use Figma Agent in your Figma file. Let's look at other options, how you can use this to generate and remix design. Now, you can also use the Figma Agent for style edits. Make style updates to your design from simple typography and color tweaks to full transformations like dark mode. That's interesting. Remember those days that we have to build for dark modes and we have to start creating variations for the colors, right? We'll go to a variant and start building color. Oh, for white, use this color. For grain, use this color. For button over, use this color. It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of tasks to do. But right now, with the Figma Agent, you can easily say, convert this to dark mode. And you have the dark mode sitting right there in your Figma canvas. You don't have to go to Cloud. You don't have to go to Codex. You're doing this right in Figma. And I think this will change. I keep saying this. This is going to change the way we designers, we create designs in Figma. And it's going to bring back that feeling of the canvas, the prestige feeling of you working on your canvas, and you're really excited to ship what you already have from your canvas to the engineers, or even from your canvas to Codex, or even from your canvas to other AI tools to really build out exactly the designs that you want to build. I know those times we feel very restricted to changing designs because the AI just came up with, oh, you could go straight to writing code, and there's a bit rigidness with changing what the design looks like. Without wasting much of our time, let's look at what we could do with changing styles. Now, for example, this says, add a zebra strip styling to the rows in the table. And if you look at the rows in the tables, there's no like zebra strip style to this table. And once with the AI, we have the zebra strip styling. It understands the structure of the design and goes deeper into creating that. Really awesome. Let's look at another one, which is an alternative style. You can use this to create a different style for your design. And maybe your client said, oh, this looks nice. Can you give me a different variation? Give me a different styling. Let me see if this is actually what I want. You know, those times that you start looking for different ways to create a different alternative style for the design you've already created. But with now the Figma agent in Figma, you can easily just say, give me another option for this design with a distinct style. And it will create a new design for you without stressing you, without wasting much of your time. And in less than few minutes, you have that done already. Now, let's look at another way we could use this, the Figma agent for styling. We could also use it for alternative theme. Remember I mentioned that you could use this to say, oh, give me a dark theme or whatever theme you're looking for. So if you look at this, the prompt here says, makes this a dark mode and in brutalist style. And let's see what the result looks like. Really, really interesting. And this is going to take a couple of minutes to get it out there. So we're not going to try more example. Like it's just as easy as prompting. We're not going to be trying more example because I don't want this video to take much of your time. I'm trying to make this video as fast as I can. Now let's look at the other way we could use this. You could use this for layout edits. Now, interesting, you can try out different layout options like grid, list, view, etc., or play with responsiveness and spacing. This is really interesting. When, for example, you have a desktop design and you want to build the mobile design, it takes a couple of hours to switch from desktop to mobile. With this, you can easily just change the layout of that design. Let's look at an example. Like if you want to use the AI agent to create a different grid, let's look at what's happening here. You can see we have a list view here. We can say make this design in a 2x2 grid instead of a list design. And let's see what the outcome looks like. Really, really interesting. Really easy to use and right here in our canvas. Let's see an alternative, which is to create an alternative layout for this. You can see the layout of this design and the prompt says, give me another layout option for this design. Let's quickly look at what the new layout looks like. I think I like the new layout over the previous layout. And this is really interesting how we can use AI in Figma with the Figma agent. Now let's look at this. This says an empty state, make an empty state version of these screens. I remember when you do some designs and you want to hand off to the designer, you have to create empty states for each of these designs so that when there are no records for those particular design cards or whatever your design looks like, the user can have this feeling that, oh, there are no records here. I need to do something to populate records. Now, with the Figma AI in your Figma canvas, you can easily just create the empty state. And this really looks really, really great. And let's look at an alternative device size. Now, this has to do with the different viewports. Let's say you want to build for mobile, for example, make this a mobile layout, I need to quickly create a mobile layout for you. Really, really interesting. Now, we have the tryout here. We're not going to do this because of time, but what this says, move the category tagline with the submission ID and date. I need to just do that for you. How cool and interesting. So this is how you could generate and remix design using the Figma agent. Now let's quickly look at automate repeated tags. Now, this is an interesting feature. Like, for example, if you find yourself that you have to do a certain task, for example, when a client says, oh, I don't like the corner radius of the cards. Can you change all the corner radius of the card to 32 pixels from 40 pixels? That will take a lot of time to do. Even though you have your styling, maybe you have, let's say, a variant for corner radius, it's going to take a lot of time to identify each card and try to change the corner radius. So in cases where you have repeated tags and you just have the Figma agent there sitting right there in your canvas, you can easily say, identify all cards and change the corner radius to 32, and you'll be so surprised what the Figma agent can do. Now let's look at this design and see the examples of how we could actually use this. So let's start with this. Content edit, you could add realistic content to your design. Bye-bye to Lauren Ipso, bye-bye to images from Free Pics and the rest of that, use cartoon for images. You can easily just use this to fill up content. And how cool is this? So for example, add a realistic copy and pictures to this empty frame, and you quickly just have this. How cool. And this can be AI generated images without you having to look for images that don't have copyright or all of that. Gone are those days where we have to struggle for images. You have cool images right here in your canvas. Now we could say add content to this, like add more content to this. You could say add another 3 rows of items to this basket, and you quickly add 3 rows. It understands what the content is and what to add to the rows. Now we see edit content. Let's see what this does. Replace all the content in the blog post to be about farming best practices, including images and all text. So this content is different and you want to entirely change the content in this blog post. It's going to do that. Really interesting. How cool is this? Very awesome. Now we have a tryout. We're not going to try this out because it's going to make this video very lengthy. You can go ahead and try it out. Like I said, I'm going to leave the link to this file in the description so you can also try it as well. And I also tell you, make sure you continue watching this video because I'm going to give you that tip on how to get this Figma agent roll out to you. Not everybody have this. It's currently on beta stage for testing. So if you want to get access to it, make sure you watch this video to the end and I'll give you access to that. Now let's look at batch edits. Now, this has to do with having prompt to perform multiple specific tasks. Like, let's see how we could use this. So now for this auto layout, you can say apply auto layout to all nested frames. For example, if you're built with frames and you want to use auto layout for what reasons, I think auto layout is the best. There was a time there was this conversation between auto layout and frames. And I've been that auto layout design guy. I really love the way you could easily just change things with auto layout. Maybe you're attached to a design team and they are using frames all over the design. And you're now the lead designer and you want to change the way things is being done. And you want to change all the designs from frames to auto layout. You have to take a lot of time, couple of days and months to actually achieve that. But with this, you can just say, change all frames to auto layout and you have the auto layout. How cool is that? Interesting. Now let's say component usage. This is also an interesting one. Replace all instances of the card hash. The hashtag for the card means it is being built with frame into a grid with the card component created inside the file. So now you have a component that has been created. This component is called the card component, and you know what it means to have a component. So it means that when there's a change in that component, everywhere that component is in your design file will also have that change. And now if you look at this, they are being created with frames. These components are being created with frames. And you're saying to the AI agent, change all of this card that has been created with frames with this component. Now, what this means is that you're on the natural way which we design, you're going to bring each of these components into this, and then you have to change the contents for each of them to be able to populate all of this. But with the AI in our Figma canvas, that will be done in a few minutes, like we have here in this design. Very, very interesting. Now, you could also edit styles, right? Remove all shadow styles. So you have a design where there's a lot of shadow styles in it, and you just want to say, oh, I don't need the shadow styles. Or the client says, I don't like the shadow styles. And it's going to go through the whole design file and remove the shadow style being attached to it. We're not going to try out, like I said, because I want this video to be really, really short. I think it's getting to almost 30 minutes now, and I don't want to keep you watching for a very long time because maybe you have your coffee to take this morning or you want to do something else. So let's continue. Now, we could also use this for DC documentation. You can create documentations that you can hand off to your designers or engineers without wasting a lot of time creating documentation. Remember when I had to do a documentation before the introduction of the Figma code? You have to do a documentation explaining to the engineers how they should how they should build your designs. And when you don't do proper documentation, you find out that when the engineers are done designing, they are designing something really different from what you design. And sometimes it's a pain in the ass for we designers, because when we say engineers design something that is not really what we have designed in Figma, spent a lot of time designing, it's really a pain in the ass. So with this Figma agent, it can easily just create the documentations for you to your designs. So let's see what this can do. Design a design token documentation page template using the information in this frame. So it's going to look at your design and then create a documentation. Really cool design token documentation. We have the color palettes, we have the typography, we have the spacing. Really interesting. We have the shadows and the infographics, the icons that are being used in this design. Really, really interesting. That's how you could use it for documentation. Now, another way you could use the Figma agent under the automate and repeated tasks usage is the file search and selection. Really, really interesting. You could, like I said initially, you could say, get all cards that are with radius 32 and replace them with radius 40 pixel. And it will easily just do that. It can find, you can search. I think there was time where you have to search for a particular element and you'll be like, where is this element? Where is this element? And you're looking for that element. You can usually just use the AI and say, delete all invisible layouts in this file. You know, when you design and you say, okay, you don't need this, hide, and you didn't delete it. And at the end of the day, you have a lot of layouts or files or elements that are not actually part of the designs. They're just hidden. You can say delete all invisible layout and it will delete it immediately. That seems like a superpower, isn't it? Now let's look at another way we could use this: systemization. Create and edit components, styles, and variables. Really interesting. I've been saying variant since that what I meant was variables. So now you could systemize your design, right? You could say, take this particular design, create components out of it, create variations, create styles, add typography styles, and boom, you have that done. Like, for example, let's look at this. This is a design, and you say, extract core colors from these screens, and from them build out color variations, scales from range of 0 to 1000 in increments of 100. And it created it. Bro, this is mind-blowing, right? I remember when I started learning variation, I spent lots of hours creating variants, like variations, colors, radius, typography, spacing. That takes you a lot of hours before some tools like plugins started creating this. But now with the Figma AI, you could get that done as fast as possible. Now let's look at using agents with design system. Obviously, you could use this with your design system. Let's see what we can actually do with this. So you add an additional row of product cards using my design system. It can understand your design system and use it to build whatever you want to build. I'm not going to waste much time on design system. Let's look at working with feedbacks. This is another interesting feature which I really enjoy using the Figma agents. Now, you can have feedbacks from your team members. Maybe you're working with different people in the team and you have like a super lead designer that leaves feedbacks based on your designs. And you can say, oh, I don't like the colors you were using for the button primarily. Can we make the button primarily a different color? And you'll be like, oh, I've spent a lot of time changing all these colors and you're asking me to change this color again. So with the Figma agent, you can say, look at the comments from Tolu, look at the comments from Peter, and just fix it for me as fast as possible. And it will just do that in a few seconds or minutes. So let's look at critical example. Ask for feedback from the Figma agent. Now, you could say, okay, can you give me some ideas for how I might improve the search experience for this browser screen when there are dozens of projects in this? And this is one of the challenges I faced with building a project for a client. And it was like, there's going to be a lot of projects that users will see on this screen. I want an intuitive search that makes it easy for them to search, filter, and sort records. Now, with the Figma agent, you can have this done without brainstorming, right? I think this might reduce the amount of brain we use in our work, right? It does make us lazy. So let's see what it creates. And yeah, it creates something different, and that's it. So you could go ahead and check these files and see what you could use this for. Now, this says asking Figma agent for feedback. You could ask Figma agent for feedback and it will give you feedbacks. You could also get feedbacks from the comments and it will help you fix those feedback. So that is it about using Figma Agent. I know this is a lot, and that is why I said I'm going to leave the link in the description so that you can go ahead and open the file and try all of this out. It's going to like change the way we designers use design, and it feels more natural that we have this agent or we have this AI in our file compared to the point where we have to go to a different AI to do our prompting, and they'll say connect with Figma MCP, connect with skill this, connect with skill.md, do this and do that for you to get a good design. Bro, you have everything in your canvas right now, and you can easily just do whatever you want to do with the AI. So like I mentioned, I'm going to show you how to get access to the Figma agents. Now, there's a way Figma roll out design updates for their users. They kind of prioritize enterprise users first, people who pay for the large scale Figma, right? And then for people who paid for personal subscription, the professional subscription, then maybe the people who are using the educational plan, then probably the people who use the free plan, right? So if you have an enterprise plan, the possibility of you having the Figma agent in your file already exists, right? What you just need to do, check the layout and see if you already have that. Now, if you don't, there's also a trick for you to kind of speed up this process, right? So what you can do is click on this help and resource, and you can see join Figma AI Agent waitlist. And once you click on that, it's going to open a link for you in your browser. You click on the link, fill out the details, and hopefully you are going to get this and you can start testing it as fast as possible. Guys, that is it for me. What do you think about this feature? Personally, to me, it's mind-blowing. It's going to speed up the way we designers use this. And will I choose the Figma agent over using other AI tools like Claude AI? The interesting part is that Figma has actually partnered with Anthropic and other AI tools to be able to do this and bring the best out of the AI industry into the Figma canvas, right? I think there are various ways people look at designs. If you are that person that wants your vibing to canvas, like you want to write your prompt to your canvas, and then from your canvas to maybe your implementation by code, then this is a good thing for you to use. But if you're the person that you really want to vibe to code instead of vibe to canvas, you don't want to vibe to canvas because you don't want to do any edits, you just want to go straight to the code implementation, then this probably is not the best thing for you. I would advise you go straight to Claude and just do your vibing and you get your implementation. But for me as a designer, I still have some tests. I still have some requirements, some changes that I want to do. The AI cannot literally just give me exactly what I want. I still want to have control. I still want to be the final authority for my design. So I want to push it to the canvas and be sure that this is exactly what I want when it comes to the design aspect. And this is what I will do. What I would do is I would literally work with the Figma agent in my design file. I'll have it create new ideas. You could see that I can use it to create new ideas, new design ideas, and I can easily do some changes. And the fact that it understands the Figma file, understands the structure, understands the styles and the variables and the variations and the components and whatever we use, the auto layout in our Figma file. The fact that, honestly, I've actually designed with Claude and the result on Figma is not really impressive. But with this, I think my way to design is way improved with the AI. So guys, let me know what you think about this. Leave in the comment section. Remember to like and share and subscribe, because if you do, you'll always see me show up here. If you don't subscribe, if you don't like, I won't be showing up here for you guys. So that is it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next video. Stay curious, stay ahead, and bye.